this is Tomlin from Tomlin Harmonica Lessons, and this week I am going to talk about a question that I was asked by a student recently, which is, can you give me some tips for how to keep my head in the same position and move the harmonica with my hands? But before I do that, I just want to tell you a little bit about TomlinHarmonicaSchool.com. That is my online harmonica school where you can get step-by-step guidance, feedback, and all your questions about harmonica answered by me and guest teachers. So if you want to find out a little bit more about that, then click on the link in the description below. Okay, so how to move your harmonica with your hands and keep your head still. So I guess what I should probably address as a question first is why do you even care about that? Well, if you keep your harmonica and head in the same kind of relationship all the way through, where your head is facing straight forward and the harmonica is moving from side to side in one plane, it means that you can focus on having one embouchure that gives you a clean single note, and you don't have to worry about having to tweak anything if you're moving from side to side. Why is that a big issue? Well, if you're starting on hole 4, and then you go up to the top of the harmonica, but you do it by turning your head, then by the time you're over there, you're not going to be playing a clean single note anymore. But if you move your harmonica up to that position, then you can play a clean single note because your mouth is in the same position that it was down on hole 4. So that's an important element of it. Another important element of it is it's easier to kind of control your hands than it is to control your head in terms of fine motor control. So if you want to do these kind of quick little runs, it's easier to be precise with your hands than it is with your head. So that's why. And I know that loads of people right now are going to be saying, oh, well, I move my head and I do just fine. Or I've seen this player do it and they do just fine. And that's absolutely right and correct. The issue is, for me as a teacher, if I get someone brand new and I want to give them the quickest and easiest way to move around the harmonica accurately and precisely, I'm going to teach them to use their hands. If you've already worked out how to do it with your head and you do fine, then this lesson isn't for you. But that's okay, there's nothing wrong with it. And if you've seen examples of people who are great by moving their heads, that's also fine. This is just my 2 cents for getting you there quicker, okay? Right, so the issue that I see all the time with people who are trying not to move the head is that they've made it really difficult to move their arms. And there are a couple of reasons for this. Either they've got their arms sticking out like this, and that means that moving the harmonica from side to side is really hard, and they end up having to kind of rotate like this, and it's really uncomfortable. So the easiest thing to do then is to move their heads. So we need to relax the arms, let them hang down from the harmonica. You'll see that I've got kind of a right angled thing going on here, right? And that means that I can just slide from side to side really easily, and that means that I can keep my head facing forward. So step 1, keep those arms nice and relaxed. Don't stick them out like this, just nice and relaxed, hanging down. Makes it a lot easier to move around. Next thing to think about is, are you leaning on something in front of you? So I get tons and tons of students who are playing by sitting at a desk. And so they've maybe got sheet music on the desk in front of them, and they lean down like this. And if their elbows are resting on the desk, then how are they going to move their arms easily? They're not. So they default to moving the head. So that's another thing to think about. Don't lean on anything, and if you can, try playing standing up. That'll make everything a lot easier. Okay, so we've looked at kind of keeping your arms in the most advantageous position to be able to move them easily. The next step is really thinking about fixing something with your head, with your gaze. So pick a spot in front of you while you're practicing that you can keep an eye on, and really try and focus on that. That really, really helps. So when I'm playing, I'm going to fix the spot, which is going to be the camera lens that I'm talking into right now, and I will keep looking at that. Okay, that's one one thing to think about. Another thing which is really, really helpful, and this is helpful for your practice full stop, is to practice in front of a mirror. Because we all do weird stuff when we're playing a musical instrument. There's no way around that fact. But if you play in front of a mirror, you'll see that you're doing that weird stuff. You'll see that you're moving your head, and you'll be able to kind of correct on the fly. Final thought, final tip for this is, if you have the habit of moving your head and it's causing you problems in your playing, and you want to learn to move your hands instead, you're not going to fix that habit by playing as quickly as you normally play. And the reason for that is because you have muscle memory. And muscle memory is brilliant because it stops you having to consciously think about any activity that you have committed to your muscle memory. But the problem with muscle memory is that it has no quality control. It doesn't look at what you're recording into it and think, this isn't very good. It just says, hey, we're doing this over and over again this way. That's how we're going to do it. And if you try and play fast, then your muscle memory is just going to say, oh, don't worry, conscious thought. I'm going to take over and I know how to do this. And so your old habits start to creep back in and you start moving the head from side to side. So if you want to rewrite that habit and create a new habit, and this applies to any habit on the harmonica or any instrument, you're going to have to slow way, way, way down to break down those neural pathways and rewrite them. So if you're technically quite proficient, but if you want to fix this, then you're going to have to slow to, beginner level again and go really, really slowly and really focus on whether you're moving your hands or your head. So you'll be doing something like, and all the while you're going to watch yourself in the mirror, and if you see that you're still moving the head and not the hand, then you're going to slow down even more and you're going to keep telling yourself what you need to be doing. And that is important, maintaining the concentration. Super, super important. All right, so that's quite an in-depth kind of overview of moving your hands rather than your head. Hopefully that helps you to fix your bad habits. And if you've enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up by hitting the like button. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, because I put out a new video every Wednesday. All right, see you next week. Happy harping.